On August 15, 1947, India gained its independence after a long struggle for home rule. India had been a colony of Great Britain since 1858 when the Sepoy Rebellion ended and the British Crown took direct control over the colony. In December 1885, the Indian National Congress held a meeting for the first time. This organization would be the leading political party in the fight for Indian independence. In 1919, a man named Jawaharlal Nehru joined the Indian National Congress and made great contributions to the power of the organization. Nehru was born on November 14, 1889, into a wealthy Indian family. At the age of 15, he went to study law in England and returned to India when he was 22. He was married and had a daughter named Indira, who would later become the third Prime Minister of India. Until 1917, Nehru was not a part of the political scene in India. When he heard of the imprisonment of Annie Besant, a British woman who was devoted to Indian independence, he was infuriated and joined in the fight for home rule. While Nehru fought for independence, he was imprisoned 9 times for a total of 3,259 days, almost 9 years. During his imprisonment in Ahmednagar Fort Prison from August 9, 1942 to March 28, 1945, he wrote his book called The Discovery of India. In this book, he described his experience in prison. One of the influential leaders of the independence movement that Nehru worked closely with was Mahatma Gandhi. Nehru was inspired by Gandhi's call for action and devotion to India. He joined Gandhi on a salt march from March 12 to April 6, 1930. This was a civil disobedience movement against the salt tax from Britain that prohibited Indians from producing their own salt. Excited by the action, Nehru paid tribute to Gandhi during the journey. When they arrived, Gandhi and his followers picked up salt from the mud on the shores of the Arabian Sea.
Salt.
This was an illegal act which resulted in thousands of people being thrown into prison within a month of the march. Nehru and Gandhi's friendship was also expressed through Nehru's reaction to Gandhi's fasts. Gandhi would fast on more than one occasion to protest occurrences in the country's political scene that he disagreed with. Nehru was furious with Gandhi's sentimental reactions to political disturbances. Nehru and Gandhi did have fluctuating opinions about each other throughout the fight for independence. Sometimes Nehru did not fully understand or support Gandhi's policy of civil disobedience, but he advocated for it in public. One of Nehru's strongest beliefs was that India had to be industrialized, but Gandhi wanted India to become a country of self-sufficient villages. In the end, India moved towards industrialization when it gained its freedom. Another important political figure that stood in the way of Nehru's view of India was Muhammad Ali Jinnah. Jinnah headed the All India Muslim League and believed that the only way to protect Muslim interests in a country with a majority of Hindus was to create a new country. In 1940, Jinnah proposed the partition of India at the Lahore session of the All India Muslim League. There would be India, and the areas with a Muslim majority would become Pakistan. Nehru was shocked by this radical proposal, which destroyed his view of a unified India. Across the country, the divide between Hindus and Muslims was widened by the quarrels between their political representatives. Violence broke out constantly, and the unification of a free India seemed almost unattainable. The violence between the two groups posed a threat to the political leaders on both sides. On October 21, 1946, a car that Nehru was sitting in was attacked by a Muslim group. They threw stones at the car, and the occupants were cut by flying glass. The divided country experienced greater unrest as its future began to be seriously discussed with the British cabinet mission. A civil war seemed imminent until finally a conclusion was made. Jinnah's partition was accepted by the British government, the Indian National Congress, and the All India Muslim League. On August 14, 1947, Pakistan became a new nation, and the next day, India gained its independence. Nehru was elected by the Indian National Congress as the first Prime Minister of India. At the turn of midnight on India's Day of Independence, Nehru gave a speech entitled A Tryst with Destiny.
At the dawn of history, India started on her unending quest, and trackless centuries are filled with her striving and the grandeur of her successes and her failures. Through good and ill fortune alike, she has never lost sight of that quest or forgotten the ideals which gave her strength. We end today a period of ill fortune, and India discovers herself again. The achievement we celebrate today is but a step, an opening of opportunity to the greater triumphs and achievements that await us. Are we brave enough and wise enough to grasp this opportunity and accept the challenge of the future?
Later that day, he also gave a famous speech called First Servant of the Indian People. In this speech, he asked the people of India to work together to achieve a bright, industrialized future. After almost 30 years of actively fighting for Indian independence, Nehru became the leader of a free India. Through the ups and downs, Nehru kept his strong ideas and his dignity while opposing the British. He became famous for his policies of non-alignment during the Cold War and for being the longest-serving Prime Minister of India to this day. He died on May 27, 1964, as a great leader in Indian history.